Hello and welcome everybody to our overview of the Aladtec scheduling system here. My name is David Snyder. I'm one of your system specialists here on the support team available to you. And today we're going to be giving you kind of a brief overview of the system in terms of a healthcare department and public safety sector. We're going to be talking about all different aspects of the system and answering any of your questions. If you have them, please feel free to post your questions in our GoToWebinar control panel. And as we go along here, answer those, and we'll save some of those questions for the end to look at some other aspects of the system that maybe we didn't cover in the overview here. We are a small software company here located in the Midwest, and we're available to you as part of your support, unlimited support and tech support as part of your service, of course. And we'll be talking about the different aspects here, and let's take a look at some of the subjects we'll be covering today. We're going to be looking at a basic walkthrough. We're going to be talking about your members, of course, how you get your members into our member database and track their information, everything from their access to the system to notifications to where they're qualified to work and other data for HR purposes or otherwise, and tracking certifications and things like that. We'll be talking about the schedule, of course, and how you can track where and when people work, how signups work, trades, time off, events, those kinds of things. Our forms section over and above the schedules is, of course, really expanded in recent months. So we'll be able to look at how you can get rid of all the paper in your world and have them custom forms built within the system that you can access from anywhere. And of course, reporting has become a big factor as of the last couple of years in terms of payroll and otherwise. People want to drill down that information down to get people paid accurately. And of course, we have a payroll module in our system too, where you can insert all sorts of different rules and situations that may occur for your department and your members. So we'll go ahead and just get right to it here. We'll take a look at a demo system that we've set up for you here to take a look at here. We're looking at our splash page here, our home page. This is where you're going to go after you enter your credentials in our login page to take a look at the system. And as we're going through the system here and looking at the different aspects here, you have certainly the opportunity to explore one of these demo systems on your own as well. So we encourage you to take a look at the system and contact us for that, because it's completely free. Why wouldn't you, right? You can take a look at a complete demo system and even be customized with your own information. You'll be assigned a sales executive and a system specialist that'll have those conversations for you with you and what the unique needs of your department is, and they will take it from there and build you a custom system that you'll be able to utilize on your own on a free trial basis, and you'll be able to interact with the system exactly as you would on a day-to-day basis and make sure it's the right fit for you. And if that becomes true, then that system literally just transitions over into your live system and all the work has been done. And then of course, along the way, as part of that service, what you'll see here is you get complete free training, unlimited support and training. We'll be able to train your admins, your members as necessary, as many times as necessary, whatever learning curve you want to take on that path. You get free upgrades for any enhancements that come along. It's all included within the system. All those enhancements automatically push out and they become available to all our customers. And then of course, the biggest part of our system that we try to sell here is of course the unlimited free telephone and email and now chat support that you'll be able to take advantage of at any time. Questions, you want us to just take care of things for you, build you a form, help you with your scheduling, anything that you need, you'll be able to just pick up the phone and email and call us at any point. Now, your system here is an online subscription system. It's available through any device here, as long as you have an internet connection here, and you'll be assigned a keyword that'll be unique to your service, and that can be pretty much set to whatever you need it to be. Pretty much everything's available if it's not used already. And all you're going to need to tell your people on how to get to the system is just tell them aladtec.com/ whatever your keyword is, and in this case it's webinar healthcare, and it'll take them to their specific website, to their login, and they'll be able to log in and access the information from any device, from a laptop, an iMac, an Apple, down to your tablets and iPads, or your phone, of course. We have a mobile version of our website that I'll demonstrate here for you. There's no app to download or install or update or anything like that. It's just the mobile version of our website that's configured to fit onto your smaller screens, and it'll have the same live information, and everybody's up to date all the time. It'll always be there for you. Once you log in, you're going to be looking at your home page here. This is customizable for you as well. You can splash whatever you want to on this home page. If we're looking along the menu bar here, we'll see the different sections of the system that we'll be talking about. This is just starting on the home page, and there's a home page editor where you can make the information available here as much as you want. And you can see here we just have some default information and some default videos that you can watch to see about different areas of the system and learn about all that. Also on the right here on the home page is a nice dashboard. So it's a kind of a nice one-stop shop, quick look at what's going on in the system. We're currently logged in as a sample administrator. And so if there's any change requests that we need to review, they can be just quickly accessed here in little shortcuts in terms of what pending trades are out there, any signups that we need to take a look at and approve or deny, time off and so forth. And you'll see here as you're navigating through the system, you can just use your mouse to just navigate and hover over things to see what you can do. And you can just click on that. It brings up all the current pending time off requests. And you can even click on any of these requests as well, review the different details of the particular request, make sure it falls into the right type and it's tracking correctly, and approve or deny those requests and add your notes there as well. So there's many places you can do that kind of processing, but this is just a nice quick one-stop shop on the beginning. Some other shortcut details here. Any upcoming shifts for yourselves would be listed here in the dashboard. We'll talk about date expiring information. That's as part of the member database. So the system actually tracks dates for you and makes sure that everybody's up to date and lets you know, warns you and sends out notifications as to when dates are about to expire within a certain amount of days or if they are expired. And you can click on these links for some comprehensive reporting. Any events coming up on the calendar that have been set to make you aware of, anything in terms of trades for yourself if you want to be aware of those trade information. Discussions, we have a discussions area here, which is kind of a back and forth forum chat, so you can see some unread posts there as well. So we'll just be taking the menu bar here from left to right. We'll be talking about the different aspects of what's available and what can be done here. So let's take a look at our members. If we hover over members, we can see we have a couple of options here. We can look at the entire member database. We can look at our own information. That's how you get into your own profile, or any member would get into their own information. And then we have a configurator here that you'll be able to set different fields. That I'll show you how that works here in a minute. So if we look at our member database here, it takes us to our 60 active members here, as you can see, listed alphabetically here by last name, and their associated information that we're storing for each of these members, and everything from phone and email to what type of employees, just where, their date of hire, and then basically just a breadth of information that you can add as needed. You can customize this any way you like. There's general information, home address information, emergency contact information, certifications and those dates, and you can see where they change colors when they're about to be expired or are expired, and all the way throughout the different elements here. Now let's go into a member here and take a closer look at some of these elements and see how this affects the different aspects of a person. If we hover over Renee here, we can go ahead and edit Renee. And this is just an example of a typical profile here. There's some high level information at the top here, of course. First, last name, what is their username to log in? You can reset their password. Everybody is assigned a username with their primary email here, and you'll be able to send out a reset password email to the email listed here, and the member would be able to see and set their own password so that nobody else sees it, including the admin. No one's going to know it but the member. We'll see some levels of access and other rules here that can be set, as in where, what kind of authority do they have in the system? Are they a top level administrator like I am here as Joe? or maybe somewhere in the middle here as a scheduler to be delegated certain tasks and authority in the system. So you can certainly customize that as well. You determine who has access to which parts of the system, of course. Right now, Renee here is listed as a regular member, so that's a very basic access level where they just have basically the ability to see their own thing and interact with their own schedule without authority of changing it or approving anything and so forth. We can also set up rules called work groups here, and this just determines basically what set of rules that this person follows in terms of how can they interact with the system. Can they sign up for shifts? Does it require approval? Can they trade their shifts? What kinds of trades can they, are there rules involved with trades? They can only go out so far to trade, and can they only trade within themselves, or can they trade with anybody? And then also things like work limits. If they're say a part-time versus a full-time member, can they, do we need to make sure that they're only working so many hours in a week, and then it pings me when it needs approval to go over that amount of hours and so forth? Or do they need a break between shifts, so many hours in a row, things like that. And other designations such as employee type, here's date of hire, their status, of course. Moving down here, we get into our notifications options. This is, of course, a big part of the system in terms of communication with your members. We want to make sure that they get their 10-digit phone number in place here. Also choosing their phone provider so that we can send out those text messages through those providers, whatever it happens to be. Email is important in terms of getting logged in and getting those passwords set, so they have to have an email and have it set to be the primary email, and you can have as many email addresses in here as you like. And then every member gets to, an admin gets to choose what types of messages they get from the system and in what format. So Renee here, if she's interested in knowing when her time off request has been approved or denied, at the moment that happens, she can set it so that she gets pinged an email and or text at when those transactions occur. So you can see the different types of requests that could be available to them and in what type of capacity they want to get that notification. There's other notifications in the system as well that we'll talk about. We'll talk about coverage alerts. That's the ability to send out an alert letting people know that there's a shift open and who would like to log in and sign up. Form notifications. The forms can be set to ping out notifications for different triggered events. Here's that member or info expired that I was mentioning here in terms of the dates on the record here. So those, that notification is turned on, and there's even an upcoming shift reminder here as well. So for those that maybe are not on a regular rotation of any kind, maybe they're just working every once in a while on a part-time, it just reminds them, hey, don't forget you're working tomorrow. Work qualifications here, this is dictating where is Renee qualified to work. So now we're not talking about authority, we're just talking about in terms of the schedule, who is Renee and where is she working? So we have different schedules listed here. These are just basically labels of schedules and positions, and we're just dictating here exactly where Renee is allowed to work, in what departments, what station, locations, training, special events, whatever they happen to be called. And then of course, the different qualifications of positions within those schedules. What kind of jobs, in a fire station that could be, captain, lieutenant, sergeant, ladder, firefighter, EMT, paramedic. There's different qualifications for different types of jobs. So we're just stating here, what is Renee qualified to work? And this helps you as an admin as you're building the schedule, so you don't have to remember who Renee is and what her qualifications are. The system knows, and then that way you're only looking at the system from that standpoint, and you'll only see the list of members for a particular position that's of the folks that are actually qualified to be there. And then from general information down here, this is your world. This is where you can customize anything you want. You can add and remove an unlimited amount of fields to make it whatever you wish. You can add and remove different sections. You can have different types of fields, number fields, date fields, attachment fields if you need to actually attach a file of a certification document or a picture or whatever it happens to be right to the document here. You can have number fields, select lists, check boxes, that kind of thing. And you'll notice this expiring field. This is what I'm referring to here in terms of how the system interacts with expiring dates. So the system is actually looking at this date and tracking it and making sure that it's up to date. and it will ping those notifications if it laxes or it gets within 30 days or 60 days or whatever the setting is that you put for that date. And then you'll be able to get the notification as well when it does expire, and it lets the admin know and the member know that, hey, maybe we need to get that up to date and get that changed. All those types of things for the member database can be done here, as I mentioned, in the member database configurator. If we look at that quickly, it's just a really nice, easy way to configure, as I mentioned, as you wish, using the design options here on the left, and everything is drag and drop. You can literally just grab whatever you want over here from the left and place it exactly where you want it to go. And you can even pick some of these things up and move them around as needed, and you'll be able to edit them with the little pencil, trash can them if you don't need them anymore, or you can, have different settings of required or hidden, or what do we do if the date is expired? And maybe you don't even want the person to work if the date is expired. Maybe you have a union rule that says, hey, if their CPR is out of date, I can't put them on shift. You can actually say, hey, don't allow this person to work if that date is expired, or require approval. You can have different settings such as that. Couple more things to mention in the member database. This is, again, its own function and module, if you will, to help you manage your members. This is your member database report, rows and columns. You can certainly print it. You can export it as you wish. A big part of the system is the ability to send messages. So this is where you can trigger an open-ended message, basically, to phone and or email, simply just checking the box of whoever you want to send a message to, or check everybody, and you can click send message and compose an email, a text, or both, and it would send out a one-way no reply message that you can track, of course, in the log later on, letting them know whatever you need them to know. We'll see other detailed messages from the system, like I mentioned, for coverage alerts that are specifically designed for that purpose. But this is more of an open-ended to be able to communicate and say whatever you like. You'll notice this filter option over here with an edit link here. This is a very common functionality within the system that we'll be seeing on other screens, but it goes more towards, again, the customization of the system as you wish to look at it. This is the filter for using on the big screen here. I always say if there's something on the big screen here you want to see or not see, you just need to turn it on or off. And there are some pre-saved filter options here if you wish. If you just want to see maybe everybody's emergency contact information or certifications, let's see some information here. You can see the other columns hide in the background and brings this section to the forefront, and now you can simply just look at that particular section. And it will not affect anybody else's view of the system. This is just for you and your unique login. You have access to see everything, so you have access to make it look like what you want. And if there are some other elements you want to include, just click on edit, and maybe you want to bring in their phone and email as well, and maybe their date of hire. You can simply just turn on and off particular columns as you wish, and it just brings them to the forefront so you can see it as part of your custom view and report here. You can certainly hover and click on any of these column headers as you wish as well, to your needs, and it just batches them all together, ascending or descending, and so forth. And you can even make changes out here. As you can see, as you hover, you see the little pencil. You can simply click on any of these cells to make changes there as well. Okay, let's move on from members here and take a look at the schedule here. I'm sure that's one of the main reason why you're here. Let's go take a look at that. So we can look at our schedule and our schedule views. You'll notice a lot of different options under schedules here. These top half is just different ways of looking at the schedule, viewing the schedule. You can look at the entire schedule. You look at your own schedule. The members would just interact with their own schedule there. Different aspects of availability and trades, and then we'll be looking at the edit functions here, the admin functions of how to make changes to the schedule. You can make schedule changes by hour, over a range using rotation. This is the opposite, removing things over a pattern, and then a change request log where it's a more expansive look at interacting with the different requests. We're looking at the default view here called a monthly calendar view. Just means that we're looking at a month at a time using these 4 calendar icons over here. You can see a monthly, and you can even look at it from any range of time that you wish as needed. Again, you determine what you want to see at any given time. You can see here throughout the month here, our own shifts are highlighted in yellow. We'll see some time off listed of who's not working. And as we kind of get towards the current week here, we see some purple open shifts here of shifts that are yet to be filled or need to be filled, or maybe not, they're just open. We see things like signups, purple signups. So these folks have an actual pending sign up that's indicated by the little green A, looking to work that open shift, and maybe we need to take some action on that. Again, some time off here. You'll notice the little stop sign here. You can set minimum staffing requirements within the system as well, so that it gives you this visual indicator to make sure that you're up to staff levels as you've set them in terms of requirements. And if we click on that, we can see in the second shift of the day there that we're short 1 member. We have 2 out of 3, and maybe we need to get that third one filled, which is why you got people signing up and looking at that open shift. There's also a notes feature here. This is kind of nice. It's just an ability to put a little sticky note on a day if you have any extra details you want to add. So you can see here, they're just saying Harry's the new orientee. The blue envelope here, this is indicating that you do have an open shift here and maybe you need to get it filled. This is that coverage alert I was mentioning that we saw on the member side of things. Here's where in the future, if you have an open shift, this is how you get the word out there. If people aren't logging in on a regular basis, maybe you need to get it in front of them and push a notification into them and say, hey, I have this is today, I have an opening here on Friday that I need to get filled. I'm short a member based on my minimum staffing, and now I want to let everybody know that we got to get that filled, and we can send out what's called a coverage alert. Now, this is just a very quick, simple way for the system to put all that information together and send it out. It automatically knows everything it needs to know. It knows that the shift is open. It knows what members have the ability to work or not already scheduled, and it knows what kind of email and text it's going to send, and it's going to send it to everybody all at the same time, fair play, and it's going to send out a template email that says exactly that. Hey, we need a triage on the ER schedule on Friday, and if you're interested and you want to sign up for that shift, here's a hyperlink, and it will take them right into the system, right to their My Schedule page. They can find that purple open shift and sign up. And again, everybody gets that all at the same time. You can add notes to the email. This is for overtime, first come, first serve, whatever other details you want to add, and it'll also add it to the email as well. Now that can all be done just as is and send it within 5-10 seconds, and everybody gets it all at the same time. You don't have to call everybody one by one. And of course, you can edit the list of recipients, or you can change what the notification preferences are, including what we call staggered notifications. If this is something that you need to address, if you have, like, say, a rotational overtime list, or you need to offer it to the highest seniority person first, and they each get their turn one at a time. That's what's called a staggered notification that you can set up within the system to follow that path, and everybody gets their window of time at their turn to have a shot at signing up for the shift. And if they don't take it, it just moves on to the next person automatically. So we can go over those different details of that. Other elements on the schedule here as we go down, let's take a look here. So here's some trade information. If there's trades, it's in that kind of off green, and we can see here the little A there pending that approval. And you'll notice these are available to just click on and see the details, just like on the home page I showed you, and you can approve or deny those requests from here as well. I saw an event here. There's also events. This is another way of just communicating some different information right on the calendar, what might be going on, if there's training or a monthly meeting or payrolls due, or whatever event might be going on that day that you want to make people aware of. You can simply put in a custom event that will just flag the information right on that day for people to see on their calendar as well. So let's, and I want to mention, just to give you another look-see of how it looks, the filter options are here again. Again, if you do not want to see certain information on the calendar, turn it off. You can just click on edit. And let's say we're just interested in only the ER schedule. You can see other elements that can be shown or turned on or off. And maybe we don't need to see all that additional information in terms of time off and signups and so forth. And if we just apply that, just very simply, it makes it a nice, cleaner look at the calendar for just the ER information. It doesn't mean the other stuff's gone or deleted or anything like that. We're just hiding it in the background again. And what's great about that is that you can save these views for later. You can custom your own filters, and you can see down here there's a save as option, and you can just call it the ER only view, and you can share it with other people that they'll have that same ability to see that custom view. And if we save it, and then it becomes a filter that you can click on anytime you want. You don't have to keep coming back to the edit box here and check and uncheck all the different boxes again. So let's take a look at how you edit the schedule. We have these openings here in the future. Of course, you can make the system look and the schedules look like whatever you want on any given day. You have control of exactly what it says, what is open and what is not. So we're just looking at tomorrow here. So let's move on from viewing the schedule to actually editing the schedule. And we're going to be going on here to the hourly editor. And what I'm going to do is going to take even a shorter cut here, and I'm just going to hover over the words ER, and I want to edit the schedule for tomorrow because we're on the 12th, and we're going to edit the schedule and show you the hourly editor for tomorrow. Now, this is a very busy screen. Don't be too intimidated by this. This is the screen that most admins use all the time. It's easy to get accustomed to very quickly. We're looking at the hourly editor now for one day, a Thursday, August 12th. We can jump to any day that we want. We see on the top half here, we're looking at our ER schedule, which we have set to start at 7 o'clock, and it goes all the way till 7 o'clock the next morning. Every schedule has 24 hours in it. What you do with those 24 hours is completely up to you. We fill it with people, we leave it open, we fill it with what we call block time if we don't need it, so to speak. We don't have a student every day, but we just use our block time function in here to just cover it up so it's no longer open. And the bottom half of the screen here is our member availability section and everything having to do with your members based on what you're selecting up here in terms of what position you want to work with. We have one open shift here. We have one RN, and since I clicked on RN, these are the list of people that are qualified to be an RN, like I mentioned, based on their permissions in the system. And it sorts it by how available they are. And we can see here that people have literally signed up to work that shift. So they're, of course, the most available person to work that shift. And then there's some people that have actually submitted their availability to let you know that they are available to work. And that goes towards the case if these signups were in here, maybe we go with Dan or Ron because they've already told us ahead of time, hey, if you got an open shift, I'll take it, kind of a thing. And it's just as easy to approve those signups and so forth right from here. We can click on any one of these signups as we wish. And let's say we go with Michelle and we approve that sign up, and she instantly gets the shift put in right there. You'll notice both signups are gone now. So Michelle got pinged the notification that she's gotten the shift and she'll be working tomorrow. And then the other member got notified that they didn't get the shift because it's now been filled. That all happened at the same time. Once you get them on the schedule, you can do what you want with it. Everything is drag and drop within the system. You can simply just hover over any part of the system, any shift, and you can take any edge of it and move it left or right to make it shorter or longer. Or you can even pick up any particular shift and move them around, which is pretty cool, right? You can just take this and just make, Philip's shift longer or whatever it happens to be. And you can just make this the schedule whatever you wish it to be. So that's all drag and drop. And if there is a student on the day, maybe for the morning, we can even take the block time and move it out. We highlight on student. So now we have a list of students. And here's something even cooler. You can actually take a name from down here and grab it with your mouse and literally just take it and drag it, wait for it to turn yellow, and it snaps right in. So I didn't even add them in necessarily. I just picked them up and dragged them and put them right into the shift. You could do that kind of a longer way by just selecting their name down here, and it fills in the information down on the lower half here. Member Alex, or you can pick from the alphabetical list here, in what time frame, and simply just click the add button, and it'll also put them in with a work limit warning. Here's your warning that they're going to work more than 40 in a week, and it puts them onto the schedule, and you can actually extend that to fill that in if necessary. So it's really easy as an admin to make the schedule look like what you need it to look like on any given day. It's all through adding from the member availability list, moving people around, sliding the shifts as needed, making openings as necessary, or blocking shifts that are not necessary. You can see your minimum staffing gets updated live as you're adding and removing people. If I took Marion off the shift, you can do that just as simply by hovering over the three little lines, and I can delete the shift. The shift becomes open. My minimum staffing now goes red, saying I'm short, and maybe I need to do something about that. And I can do that coverage alert here right from here as well. You'll notice from here, you can also get your tasks done right from the editor as well. There's all sorts of tools available to you in here that you can add down in the member availability section to help you decide who particularly gets a shift. Here's some pending sign up shifts for the 13th. And now we can see 32 hours in the calculator. And we're thinking, well, what does 32 mean? 32 hours when, over what range? You determine what those elements are. This is kind of like your mini reporting area where you can bring in some factors to help you decide who gets those shifts. And again, if you're changing anything on the big screen here, you just click edit. We go down to the member availability section, the calculator options here, and let's just say we want to see it, year to date instead. And if we want to break it down by type, we can, and maybe we bring in their date of hire to help us with seniority things, and we bring in that information. And now we can see Jim's got many more hours, but of course he's the higher seniority person, and maybe you give it to him based on hours or based on seniority, and then you can go over to the signups and approve which ones you need. So this can be customized, of course, by person, by admin, to display whatever you need to help you get you through your day-to-day and make sure you get the right people in the right positions and slots for shifts as you go along. There's other ways, of course, you can edit the schedule. You can do it day by day, and you'll notice the little half-hour increments. We can go to quarter-hour increments too if you wish. Now, if you have somebody on a rotation, a repeating pattern, of course, that would take forever to put people in one day at a time, one shift at a time for 2 years. We have the ability to set repeats and rotations. So that's simply choosing whatever member you might need and setting the different particulars and putting them on a shift on a pattern over a range. Now, any pattern can be built and used as long as that pattern repeats. It could be something as simple as Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. But if it needs to be a little more complex, maybe every second, third, fourth week, every Friday, Saturday, whatever it happens to be, and you can set the different parameters of where that happens over any range of time, exactly where you want that person to go. And there's other custom rotations that can be built as well. Everything from simple 24/48, 48/96, and if there's something not on this list, we can customize one for you. Again, as long as it repeats, we'll be able to put that in the system and be able to get you that ease and efficiency of putting people in a system over a range of time in a repetitive pattern, managing rotations. Adding over a range, deleting over a range. Date range delete allows you to basically take that eraser and just erase anything for one particular person, or block time, or whatever you might need. Or maybe you just need to clear the whole schedule for all next year and just start over. You can do that. That's a nice delete tool. There's a nice log here of change requests, as I mentioned. It's just a more detailed version of what we saw on the home screen. This just shows you everything that's pending and all the little details in regards to what it's about, signups, time off, when it affects, who is for. You can process each one of these one at a time, again, prove or deny. And once you do, they drop down into the log. And of course, everything in the system is recorded. There's a history of every transaction, every action that you'll be able to track down, and you can simply just look at the log and look back in time to any particular date and see how any particular request was approved, canceled, no longer available, and exactly who took which step when. So all that is recorded. There's a great audit trail within the service here for every action of every request, and even beyond that, every action from every person. There's an activity log in the system log here that you'd be able to find, of course, everything from of people logging in to every little change made. Any action in the system is recorded, and that log can never be changed or deleted or lie. So it's all in the system, and you'll be able to trace back anything that's ever been done. Before I get off schedules, I want to give you just an example of a My Schedule page. This is what your members are going to be using to look for themselves. They can, of course, in most cases, look at the big picture and see who they're working with. But when they want to do something for themselves, they do it through their My Schedule page. This happens to be the admin's page here, and we're looking at the shifts for the month of August, and everything's color coded. Scheduled times in blue, vacation in orange, events in brown, and all these items can be turned on and off. You can toggle them on and off simply such as like those filter options we talked about, and you'll be able to see exactly what you want to. You might have a lot of information on the screen and you just want to make it a little less busy. You can have the ability to turn those things on and off. And if there's open shifts available to you in the future, that's where you can just go and find those open shifts in purple, click on it, sign up. That's as quick and easy as it gets for a member to ask to work a shift. They're signing up for a particular shift. And those same elements from the other calendar views are here as well. If they want to ask for time off, it's just the other way around. They just click on whatever shift, submit the time off, and it goes to the appropriate people to get approved. Or if they want to request a trade, members are kind of in charge of their own shifts, and they can put a trade out there to the rest of the membership and say, hey, who wants to take my shift, or who wants to swap a shift with me? The system, they can also share their schedule to an outside calendar. If they have a family or personal outside application calendar like iCal or Outlook or Google, they can actually sync that calendar information to that outside subscribed calendar account. So that's the steps here that they can take to do that. Let's take a look at some of the other elements within the system here. I want to make sure to talk about forms. I can't tell you how cool forms are. It really eliminates the need for paper in your system because it's all on the system and everybody can access this information from anywhere. They can submit their forms from home, from their phone, from an iPad, walking around the truck, whatever it happens to be, inventory forms, work orders, timesheets, whatever you can imagine can be captured on a piece of paper, can be designed and custom built right within the system and shared right here with anybody that you want. And it can ping certain people at different steps along the way if there's a workflow or an approval process or whatever it happens to be. And again, it's all drag and drop like I showed you in the member configurator. You can make these forms look like whatever you want, call them whatever you want, and have all different elements within the system. Built here. You can, and if you're thinking, you know, I wonder what other ideas might be out there for forms, take a look here. If you add new form, we went out to all our 2,500 customers and brought in the best of the best. We have over 200 pre-made form templates out here at your disposal that you can use for yourself. This is just a great starting point for you to grab an idea and make it your own. These are all actual forms. Just on a very basic level in terms of a template. There's no you know, plan details or service details in any of these. But you can just use it as a point to just start a particular form. Maybe it matches kind of close to what you're using, and then you can just go through yourself and make it whatever you want it to be. So yeah, this is a great way to just kind of play with that and use those. And like I said, there's timesheets, there's HR documents. You can see all the different options here. You can really go crazy with all the different possibilities here for forms. All your forms can be set for their own permissions, of course, who can submit it, who can see it, who can modify it. And then every form filters down into its own report where you can go and look at the different submissions and all the details therein. I don't think I have any submissions in here, but this is just a report where it would just have a row for every submission, and it would have the data captured for every field. And this is where you would go to maybe set up your own work queue of what needs to be processed, or if you just want to export the data and do some data mining for, put it in a spreadsheet and make it look, pretty for a report, or whatever you need to, filter out of what you need to see for all your submissions of reporting. So that's all captured in here within forms that you can utilize. Along with forms kind of goes with storage. This is another great centralized location where you can upload any documents you want to make available to your members from anywhere. Again, everything from policies and procedures to training documents, employee records, reports, pictures, videos. Think of it as your network drive, only you don't have to be on the network. You can access this information from anywhere, and then members will be able to come into the library here, click on whatever document it is, it downloads to the device that they're on, and they just read it. And then you can hyperlink to these documents and so forth, and it's pretty unlimited space. You're not going to run out of room. It's not going to be removed, so it'll just always be here for you to reference whenever you need it. And you can organize them, as you can see, into folders as needed, and those folders can be set to restricting to admin eyes only, or whatever you need it to be. Reporting is a big part of the system, of course, and that the basic reporting rule is for payroll. So you can set up a custom report for yourself to display exactly what your payroll rules are and what you need that payroll report to look like. And you can, again, customize it by date range and by details, and then, of course, be able to print or export those reports anytime that you want. This is just a very typical scheduled time report broken down by shift, and it'll calculate overtime for you if you need it to, or different types of time. There's summary reports. There's a nice one-stop shop individual member report that your own members can see, where it just kind of shows everything all at once, which is pretty cool. So they can see exactly how many hours they're going to get for the particular pay period, or whatever it happens to be. And it has all their information all in one place, which is pretty nice. We talked about the system log, and there's also a trade details report, so you can see, maybe who owes who what for a trade and so forth. There's a discussions area here. This is what I mentioned in terms of just another communication tool you can utilize. It's like an online forum where people can post topics and respond with their own posts back and forth. You can talk about whatever you need to, meeting minutes, or what's happening in the station, or anything you might want to talk about. Top level admins have the ability to get into the system via the setup area here. This is kind of the behind the scenes where you set up all your rules and your templates and your, who has access to what, and what types of access levels there are, everything from access levels and work groups to what your schedules are, talking about how you set up what your schedules are and what the layout is and where the shift breaks are and what the positions and jobs are called. What types of time off do people use? What types of time on do people use? There's even, a place to update your billing information for us. It's a nice, easy way. You don't have to call or email or whatever. You can just set up your own billing information within the system here. You'll see other elements of the different settings and rules in here you can explore. We have expanded greatly our modules in the different elements of the system, everything from payroll. I mentioned payroll. This is where you can really dive deep into turning on exactly what your pay periods are, multiple pay periods, and different rules for different groups of people, who gets paid what, for what reason, how you handle holidays, how you handle shift differentials, how you handle how time off works and overtime. Certain elements mean, you can put in like a lunchtime type and make sure that people don't get paid for lunch. That's a typical example. Things like that. So that's a payroll module that you can utilize, and we can turn it on, of course, and have you trial that for free. There's also a time clock feature in the system. If you need to track people's clocking in and out, there's a time clock function within the system we can set up, which will do exactly that. Basically allow you to set up a machine as a time clock kiosk where members can go along and just clock in and out as needed, and you'll be able to track those records, make sure they're early or late or whatever it happens to be, and maybe even pay them based on those records as well. We do a lot of integrations with quite a few companies. It may not apply to you specifically, but we have a lot of incident reporting softwares, and we're expanding into the payroll aspect of companies. So if you see something here that you utilize within your own department, we can explore the ability to have it be integrated with that company, and the information from Aladtec would automatically feed over to the other company, so you can eliminate your duplicate entries and make things efficient and easy, and it updates on a regular basis, even down to like every 15 minutes. So if you see something that's appealing, we can talk about more details along with that. And as I said, we're expanding this list all the time, and we're getting into more and more of the payroll side of things too. We have a really expansive help section here. I tell you, as part of the support that you have in here, there's really no reason that you would ever need to, be at difficulty finding a resource for help. We have a very expansive video and help section here, which really covers every element of the system, every aspect, and goes into the details and a lot of what we've talked about already here today. But if you wanted to get into the help section here and just learn about it again, or just kind of get an overview of the hourly editor, repeats and rotations, and we have monthly customer webinars where we dive deep into certain functions within the system and talk about it in a little more detail and have a lot more examples. Even those webinars are available here for your reference that you can watch at your leisure. So like I said, every part of the system is covered in here, and we have blog entries here that cover it in more of a article format, and you can read and watch those as well. And then of course there's us. If you don't want to skip over all that, that's where we come into play here, right? We are available to you whenever you need it. It's absolutely free, it's unlimited, it's forever. You would just pick up the phone and call. If you ever have any thoughts or questions or stuck on something, you can email us anything you want. Email us a form to build, schedules to build, whatever you want, and we can go over those details with you, questions. And then we even have a chat function here too, which is really cool, where you can just literally click on the bubble and just start talking to us through your keyboard, and we'll be able to chat with you then as well. We're monitoring that. There's just a few of us sitting here, and any of our support staff would be able to assist you with whatever you might have. All right, we've gotten to the 45-minute mark, so I want to make sure I look at any questions that might be out there. Let me just take a moment to do that. Review any questions here. Oh, of course. I mentioned the mobile site. Somebody was interested in more about the mobile site. You'll notice this view mobile site here right down at the bottom, which is just a nice way to toggle between the full site and the mobile site. Like I said, the mobile site is not an app. It's just another version of our website. It just looks different. It's the same information with the same live updates on it, and you just use it on your phone, and it's of course configured to be formatted for your phone, but you can actually see what it looks like by just clicking on the view mobile site, and it just brings you to what it looks like on the mobile site. And if I just kind of shorten this a little bit, you'll see here, this is a kind of a rudimentary example of what it looks like on your phone, and it just has a nice dashboard of what's coming up for shifts for yourself, trades, open shifts. The admin can go through and approve and deny requests, of course, and there's a menu here where you can get to almost any other part of the system, just as you can the full site. Look at your daily summary and who's working, look at your own schedule, sign up for shifts, ask for time off, all that. You can send out messages, you can look at your own information, you can fill out a form, so all that information is available to you through the mobile site here as well. And you can experiment with that. And then of course you can get back to the full site by just clicking the link in the lower right, and it brings you right back to your system on the full site on your desktop. So you can see those quick links here down along the bottom. Okay, any other questions out there? Oh, there was a question about the schedules. How do we look at the schedules or maybe add information, or what if there's a special event and so forth? Well, it's as simply as just start at the setup point here. You're just going to set up a new schedule, and maybe that schedule needs to be for, you know, a training or a special event of some kind, where you need to staff some members, like you know, something as simple as a football game or a parade or whatever it happens to be. You can add a new schedule and call it what you will, and add the different positions of what you might need. Let's just right, and maybe we need a couple of RNs and a couple CNAs. It starts at 7, and that's fine, and you can save that, and that just adds a special event that automatically adds right onto the schedule. Let's turn that on. Right, we'll just turn on everything here for a moment, and now we have basically a blank slate for us to use for special events on any day that we might need it. And if you don't want it to be open, we can utilize that block time I mentioned to cover it up so that you don't see it on every day, and it will only be open on the days that you might need it. And then you can just offer it out there just like any other shift and say, hey, we have a special event on Friday. Who wants to sign up and work? You can just put it out there. And that a good example of that in recent months, of course, would be like a vaccination event. And if you need to staff for vaccinations and things like that, or testing or whatever it happens to be. I just use this as a very generic example. In the help section, there's a video that covers this exact subject, because almost every service uses something along those lines to that effect. Those special event training, one-off events that are not on every day, they're just on certain days. So you can certainly set that up. Well, I'm hoping everybody found something useful there to maybe explore a little further. We want to hear from you. Please get a hold of us at any point. You can call us, you can email us, you can go to our homepage, our company homepage, and click on for a free demo there. And like I said, it's free. It's a free demonstration of the product that you get to interact with at your leisure. And like I said, we can have conversations with you to get your own information in there. You can send us maybe a roster and your schedule information. We will build you a custom system, and you'll be able to work with the system exactly as you would use it on an everyday basis, and see if it might be a good fit for you, all the way from the beginning all the way down to reporting and anything you might need. And our support will be there for you for that, for all of that, that assistance there as well. So we hope you take advantage of that, and we hope to hear from you and talk to you about that. So I appreciate everybody taking the time to watch today. And hopefully we can talk to many of you in the future. So with that, I will sign off until next time. Thank you very much. Have a good day.